It was a bright morning in a small town where nothing unusual ever happened. People were going about their day as always. Some were opening their shops, some were rushing to work, and some were walking their kids to school. The police station, usually quiet except for routine reports, was no different. Officers were sipping coffee, reviewing paperwork, and chatting about their schedules. Suddenly, the doors of the station burst open. A little girl no more than 8 years old came running inside, tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked frightened, her small hands trembling as she tried to catch her breath. Everyone turned toward her in shock, because rarely did children come into the station like this, and never in such a state of panic. One of the officers, a kind middle-aged man named Officer Daniels, immediately rushed toward her and knelt down to her level. He gently asked, "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" But the little girl could barely speak through her sobs. Finally, she managed to choke out the words that would change everything. "Please, please follow me home. You have to come now. It's my mommy." The urgency in her voice sent chills down everyone's spine. Officers exchanged worried glances. They didn't know what exactly was happening, but they knew they had to act fast. Officer Daniels stood up and reassured her, "Don't worry, we're coming. Show us the way." Without wasting another second, 2 patrol cars, with lights flashing, followed the girl as she ran down the streets. Her tiny legs moved as fast as they could, while she kept looking back to make sure the police were still behind her. She led them through narrow lanes, past grocery stores and houses, until they reached the edge of town where homes were older and smaller. She stopped in front of a worn-down little house with peeling paint and a broken gate. Pointing toward the door with shaking hands, she cried, "Inside, please hurry." The officers approached cautiously, not knowing what they might find. The door was slightly open, creaking in the wind. Officer Daniels pushed it open and called out, "Police department. Is anyone here?" The house was silent. They stepped inside, and what they saw left them frozen. The living room was a mess, clothes scattered, broken furniture, and the faint smell of something burning in the kitchen. In the corner of the room, on a torn couch, lay a woman. She was pale, weak, and barely conscious. Her breathing was shallow. Next to her was an empty bottle of pills and a glass of water tipped over on the floor. The little girl ran to her mother, screaming, "Mommy, please wake up. I brought help." Officer Daniels quickly checked her pulse. She was alive but barely hanging on. He shouted to his partner to call for an ambulance immediately. The officers worked quickly, comforting the girl while making sure her mother stayed conscious until paramedics arrived. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the air, and medics rushed in, carefully lifting the woman onto a stretcher. The little girl refused to leave her mother's side. She clutched her hand tightly, crying, "Please don't take her away from me." One of the medics gently explained, "We're not taking her away, sweetheart. We're taking her to the hospital so she can get better." The officers reassured the girl, promising they would stay with her. At the hospital, doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize the woman. The officers waited with the girl in the hallway, trying to keep her calm. She was still shaking, her big eyes filled with fear. Officer Daniels asked softly, "Sweetheart, can you tell us what happened?" The girl hesitated but finally spoke. Her words were broken but clear enough to reveal the truth. Her father had left years ago, leaving her mother to raise her alone. Her mother worked multiple jobs just to keep food on the table. But lately, she had been getting sick and too weak to work. She stopped eating properly, stopped smiling, and started crying at night when she thought her daughter was asleep. The little girl noticed her mother's struggles and tried her best to help. She cooked small meals with whatever they had in the kitchen. She cleaned the house and even tried to cheer her mother up with drawings and songs. But things only got worse. That morning, she woke up to find her mother lying unconscious on the couch, with empty pill bottles nearby. She panicked and remembered that the police were supposed to help people in trouble. That's why she ran as fast as she could to the station, hoping they would save her mom. By the time she finished telling her story, even the tough officers in the room had tears in their eyes. None of them expected such bravery and quick thinking from such a small child. Officer Daniels put his arm around her and whispered, "You saved your mom's life today. You are the bravest little girl I've ever met." Hours later, the doctors came out with an update. Her mother had survived the overdose and was now stable, though she needed both medical care and emotional support to recover fully. The little girl ran into the room as soon as she was allowed and hugged her mom tightly. The mother, weak but awake, broke down in tears when she realized what had happened. She kept repeating, "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I almost left you." The girl just hugged her tighter and said, "I don't care. You're still here. That's all that matters." The officers who witnessed this moment felt something change inside them. They weren't just enforcing the law anymore, they were witnessing love, resilience, and the pure bond between a mother and daughter. But the story didn't end there. After the mother was released from the hospital, the police and local community decided they couldn't let this family continue struggling alone. They arranged food donations, financial help, and even set up a support group for the mother. Volunteers came forward to repair their home, fix the broken furniture, and make it a safe place to live again. The little girl's bravery inspired the entire town. Schools invited her to share her story, calling her a hero. People who had never spoken to one another before came together to support her family. Even strangers from nearby towns sent help after hearing what she had done. Officer Daniels, who had first knelt down to talk to her at the station, made sure to visit often. He became a father figure in her life, encouraging her, helping her with homework, and reminding her that she and her mother were not alone anymore. Months later, the mother had recovered both physically and emotionally. She had found a stable job thanks to community support, and their home was now warm and welcoming. One evening, as the sun was setting, the little girl sat on the porch with her mom and Officer Daniels. She looked up at the sky and said softly, "I thought I was going to lose everything that day. But instead, I found a whole new family." Her words brought tears to their eyes again. It was true. That desperate run to the police station had not only saved her mother's life but had also built bonds of love and kindness that would last forever. And so, the story of the little girl who ran to the police crying became more than just an emergency. It became a reminder that sometimes even the smallest voices can bring the biggest changes. It showed everyone that courage has no age, that love can heal the deepest wounds, and that a community united can lift even the weakest among them. To this day, officers at that police station keep a drawing. The girl gave them after her mom recovered. It shows a little house, a smiling mom, a daughter holding her hand, and police officers standing around them like guardians. At the bottom, in shaky handwriting, the little girl had written, "Thank you for saving my mommy." That picture hangs proudly on the wall, reminding everyone who walks in why they do what they do. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember this story. One act of courage, one cry for help, and one hand reaching out can change everything. This was the story of a little girl whose desperate plea touched countless hearts and proved that no matter how dark things seem, hope can shine through. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you as much as it moved us, don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel for more stories that will touch your soul. And as always, remember to be kind, because you never know how much someone might be needing it today.